I kind of went to City College by chance because my SAT scores, my English scores, weren't strong enough to get immediately into a 4-year college. So I ended up going to a junior college, and one of the classes that I had to take was an English 50 class, a dummy English class. And as it turns out, the professor for that class happened to be the journalism professor.
Oh, okay.
And so I did okay in the class, and he said, "Hey, you ought to think about getting into journalism and be getting on the City Times staff." And so that's how I became involved in journalism on the newspaper side. The whole time I wanted to get into TV, and so I was taking telecommunications classes. So I ended up getting 2 AA degrees, one in telecom and one in journalism, because of the English teacher. Yeah, and so he became a great mentor, and so it was pretty. They got into the business. For me, that was my path, and I attribute a great deal of my success to City College. And I went there for 3 years because I got the 2 AAs. I only stuck with the one. I probably would have been out there for 2 years, but I was there for 3 years. And the nice thing about City College, and I can't speak for the other universities or other junior colleges, but you get in there, you take a few prerequisite courses, writing courses, whatever, and then it's hands-on, and you're in front of the camera, and you're doing news scene, and you're putting together that newscast, you're going out, putting together reports. So it's real world experience. Not daily, but you get to do it.
Yeah. And were there any struggles when you were at City College?
No different than any other student. Just the workload, balancing jobs. Because I also got an internship over at Channel 8 when I was at City College, and so that took up some time. And so it's just the pressures that any student faces with the workload. If you have a job. I actually got married when I was still going to City College.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got married when I was 20 years old. So, so I had to balance all those, life and school issues.
And do you think being married at such a young age kind of kept you grounded and focused on what you wanted, what you want to achieve?
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually am still married 32 years later.
Wow.
And so, without a doubt, my wife kept me grounded, and she was also there to support me. So there was a great built-in support system as we traveled. After I graduated from San Diego State, I had got a job in Texas and then Arizona, and then I was lucky enough to come back home and work in San Diego.
And how was that like moving out of your comfort zone, so to say? Like you were born and raised here in San Diego.
Yeah.
And you went to Texas and Arizona. How was that?
Culture shock, especially for a San Diego boy going to West Texas. And I worked in Abilene, Texas, and they break down cities by market size, whereas New York is number 1, Los Angeles is number 2. Typically, the bigger city, the bigger the market. San Diego, I think, is like 24 or 26 maybe. Abilene, Texas, at the time was 158 or something, so it was very small, and it was just totally different. And luckily, I didn't have to stay there very long. I was able to get a job pretty quickly to get out of there. But I like to say it was culture shock, because it's West Texas is much different than San Diego.
Yeah.
I can remember one of my first Texas experiences was they had this thing. It's called the Rattlesnake Roundup, and it's in a place called Sweetwater, Texas. And the whole thing is that you go out and you hunt rattlesnakes, and then you bring them back, and they have this big festival, and they make boots, belts, keychains. They cook the snakes, and you're just like, wow, we're not in San Diego anymore.
Yeah, for sure. I could just imagine.
I can't emphasize enough how important it is to speak Spanish in San Diego because of the proximity to the border, obviously, and the further south you get, you're going to be having to work with more Spanish speakers, and there are some people who are bilingual, but they just feel